Welcome. Today is going to be, so I'm going to give y'all the agenda, which is right here. Put a thumbs up or okay in the chat if y'all can see it. And the way it's going to work is we'll go by each day on this. So today will be the importance of the heart. It'll be real simple today, real smooth sailing. The whole week will be smooth sailing, but as the days go on, it'll get a little more complex. But I'll break it down. And this is just a quick 7-day review to kind of get your heart back pumping and activated, and maybe even break down some barricades, some walls that you built over your traumatized, childhood or just lifetime. So just sink in for a minute. If you want to clear the space, you can clear the space. If you got some oil or some sage or some Santo, that's always good. And then we'll get started here in like 2 minutes. Get you some water if you need it. Water is always good for you. Put some good intention into the water for today too. Always send the water intention. Like every time I drink water, I thank the water for health codes, for letting me receive the health codes within my body. So I want to start off each day with 2 to 3 minutes of breathing. But with the breathing, what we'll do is we'll inhale, and then on the exhale, we'll sigh. And we'll do this for 2 to 3 minutes. And what this does is it lifts weight off the heart chakra. And not only does it lift weight, but it breaks down the walls. So we'll do that for 2 to 3 minutes before we start on each day. And then after that, we'll take 3 deep breaths, and then we'll go in. So let's start with the sighing for 2 to 3 minutes, and I'll have a little timer right here, and I'll let us know when to go into the deep breathing, and I'll guide us through it. So we'll start now with the inhale, and then you can make it as loud, you're muted, so you could do it as loud as you want or as low as you want, but you should feel it in the heart. We'll go again. Inhale. Again. Inhale. Inhale. Sigh. Feel the weight being lifted.
Test. Sorry. Oh.
Inhale. One more minute. Okay. Now we'll just take 3 deep breaths. We'll start on 3. 1, 2, 3. Now breathe in as much as you can to fill your lungs. Now let it go very, really slowly. Try to extend the exhale a little bit further than the inhale. Again, inhale as much as you can. Exhale slowly. One more. Inhale. Exhale. All right, let's dive in. The breathing is just to get us grounded and to lift a little of the weight from the heart if you are just jumping in, to take in the emotional intelligence that I will be going through verbally through the slides. So today we'll be going through the importance of the heart. Real simple, might be a reminder to some, might be new to some. But for all that's here, you're right on time, whether you're here live or whether you're here on the recording. So the knowledge of the heart, mental energy towards activating the heart is how you begin the process. It all starts with the thoughts that you're sending to your body. That's why I started off in the beginning of the presentation about the water, because you're 72% of water. And whatever those thoughts are programming that water to mold your DNA and yourself as the character you are or as the being you are in this realm. So always keep in mind when you're having these thoughts that they're going not only to your heart, but to your whole system. Because the water travels, or we could replace the water with blood if we want to take it more internal. So the blood within your system is being programmed every second from every thought that you have. So the more that you can discipline the self to have a better thought pattern towards activating your heart, that's it alone. If you want to be able to activate your heart, then have that thought and keep that thought. And then if you've ever had something, which I'm sure all of us has, when we were younger, a certain feeling that just made us so joyful and happy and loving. If you don't have that, or if you can't remember that, the next time you get that, what I want you to do is capture it. Like put it in a bottle, put a seal over it, and always keep it with you. So that way, when you need to go back to this place, you can find your way. And by the end of this presentation, I will be giving you a mudra that I was given from somebody very wise and intelligent to me. And this mudra will help you if you ever feel lost in the world or in the universe or in eternity or infinite, because this journey is infinite. And sometimes we do get lost. And that's why it's important for us to have a community to always be able to come back to the core to get reminders, because it's not that we don't know, it's just that we forgot because of we're now dealing with a vast ocean. We swam from the center, so now we're all trying to get back, and we all trying to remember our mission. So I'll show y'all something to help with that. But by the end of the 7 days, you should definitely have a better ground on the emotional intelligence, and we'll go further into it. This is just the start. So let's go to the next slide. So the heart intelligence, the flow of awareness, understanding, and intuition we experience when thoughts and emotions are in sync with the heart. So this is what I was kind of explaining in the last slide, where you want to, like, if this is something you really want, you want to send the thoughts that way. So you want to program your water or your lymphatic system, which is in the body, to activate not only the heart, but your being and your core and your center, your mission here. That's in your, the deepest awareness of your heart. And when that happens, you unify that with the mind. And that's, as you can see here, I got the mind shaking hands with the heart, because now they're in coherence. They're not battling with emotion and logic, you see, because the right side of the brain does connect to the heart, but there's a bottom piece of the heart that is unconditional, and we'll get into that. But once you unlock the unconditional side to all aspects of life, then you send that to the brain, and the brain says, oh, hey, I do, like, we love. And every time something goes on where it seems wrong or bad, it's just a part of the awareness. And now that I'm aware of that, I'm building my emotional intelligence and activating my being. So it's really about coming aware of the unconscious self. And what we have, as if anyone knows of phi, it's like a spiral, like a little spiral, but it's a half a heart. So until you can come in coherence with the mind and the heart, or logic and emotional intelligence, then you'll have the full heart. There's a deeper story to this shape, which we'll get into later builds. What is the heart? The center of your circulatory system, a network of blood vessels such as arteries, veins, and capillaries throughout the body. Blood carries the oxygen and nutrients to your organs for proper function. Inside are the right and left atria, I think that's how you say it, atria, at the top, and the left and right ventricles on bottom. So there's a blood pump flow that is above the heart and below the heart. So if you've been here in the community, or if you haven't, this is what I always explain about the heart, that I believe that the heart is the bridge from the lower centers to the higher centers, or the lower worlds to the higher worlds, or lower chakras to the higher chakras, however it is that you see it. But what it says here is very important, because it says Blood carries the oxygen and nutrients to your organs for proper function. So the organs are your chakras, and it's all pumping from what? The blood. I mean, from the heart, sorry. So if your rhythmic breathing or your eating or your thought patterns to your programming of your lymphatic system or your waters is, not in coherence with the mind, then your organs are not being fed properly. So the system says, oh, wait, I don't think this is right. And then you battle. And this is why we're not, or not that we're not, but a lot of us seem lost or confused or, a lot of these terms to where we think we're not one with this ourselves or all or just in coherence with the mind and the heart. And it's because first it starts with the thought, like I said, send the thought to activating the heart. Once you do this, you start to become aware of more of your internal, like your waters, how it's programming your emotional intelligence, because your emotional intelligence is not so much the logic side of it, like what we're going over now. The emotional intelligence is more of like intuitive, something we just get. It doesn't speak to us in any kind of language. It speaks to us like inside, like internally somehow. So in order for us to get more into that intuitive hearing and psychic abilities, as some would call, is to feed the organs properly. So how do we do this? It all starts with the thought, like I said. And then from the thought is the water. The intention in the water and what kind of water you're drinking, what kind of water, that you're using with the food, all of this. The water is carrying all the knowledge, all the wisdom. It's been here since primordial times. And what do we know what controls the water? The moon. The moon controls the tide. So what does the tide do on the ocean? It goes in or it comes out, then it takes back, right? And the waves and the tides, like it goes out onto the shore and then it comes back and takes everything with it. So it's like here's all the joy, the beauty. Now here's the sorrow. So it's a tide, it's an ocean, right? So once you learn this within you're able to send the organs a better flow, if this makes sense, a better flow of oxygen and nutrients, because now you don't have so much blockages in your system, because the thoughts alone is breaking walls. The sighs alone is breaking walls. The breaths alone is breaking walls. Okay? No matter if you see it or not, you really can't see what's going on internally until you open up that eye, which sees all. And this comes with it, So a little bit more about importance of the heart. The heart is the generator for your body. The heart, however, is the power supply, and without the power supply, nothing else works. The system won't even turn on. Your heart creates actual electrical pulses that run throughout your body, supplying energy to everything. So this is kind of like what we were saying here with like how once we start programming the waters with the thought and then eating the good foods, drinking the good water, and sending that through the lymphatic system and feeding the organs with proper and good oxygen and nutrients, we then are supplying energy to everything. Even though the heart already does that, whenever you're amplified with awakening the heart chakra and using its power, you come into a state of an unconditional love, not only for your loved ones, but for all beings, because you see that all beings are your children, are all your brothers and sisters, are all your family. We all have belly buttons. So we all need to remember that we're all family here, and we all swam from the center. And this is a lot to do with the boat and all the ancient images with the boats, because we're in an ocean here. And when you think about when you go on the ocean, you're like, you need a lot of stuff. You need a lot of people. You need a crew, you know? You're not just going to go out to the ocean for anything. So we had to come out here for a mission. And a lot of us forgot our mission. But that's why we're here to remind each other. And we're all here within our hearts. Whenever we think somebody dies or passes away, which is another format of division, is illusion. Everything is here within our hearts. And if you want to remember your mission, you go deep within your heart. And I'll try my best to show you applications I've used and just readings I've read and experience I've had to do these type of things. So our heart is our spiritual core, which once fully activated, awakens our higher consciousness of wholeness and inner peace, ending duality of matter and spirit. So this is what we want. This is what we're all striving for here. So that's why I said I believe that the heart is the bridge. And once getting to the heart, and we'll have to walk, we'll have to walk up the journey of the spine. We'll have to ascend. We'll have to, and we'll do this together. But I want us all to know the awareness of the emotional intelligence in our heart, because I feel like, a lot of us, like, we got the logic, we've been studying the logic, we're doing the logic. Now we need to move back within. And then we can apply both. Now we're balanced. Now we're ending duality of matter and spirit. Now they're not two, they're one. Now you're not saying me and my higher self. You are your higher self all the time. There's no separation. There's no division. There's no dying. So when our energetic heart is fully open, we remember our divinity and allow the love of creation to flow through us, helping us to recognize the divinity in everyone and everything else. So once activating it, like it's saying, not only are you going to end duality from battling within yourself what's good and bad, or what's light and dark, or, hot and cold, just the different, you'll see everything as one, and they're just different degrees or different temperaments, as we could call it. So once you activated the heart, you'll start to remember exactly who you are. And not only that you'll remember who you are, you'll remember your mission. And that mission, once you remember it, will activate your whole being, because this is the core. We have the core, the solar plexus core, which is important for the whole body, right? But then I look as the heart as a core as well, because the core is always a place, the heart is always a place we need to come back to, as I look at as a core. Because if we start to get lost or unbalanced or uncentered from our mission, or just getting stuck in the matter and spirit, we need to come back. We need to center ourselves. And this is why I'm going to give y'all the mudra, because it goes from the being two into going back to the one. Or you could see it as the one going into the two, and then the two going back into the one. So, and then on not only that, you'll be able to see it in everybody else. So a lot of us, it seems that we judge, I do it sometimes too. I'm not going to say I'm sitting here perfect. I'm on the path with y'all. I'm learning with y'all, but I've seen what the heart's intelligence can do. And I just want to be able to share this with you, because it's so important for the journey, especially in infinite, when you're gone, like you want to be able to use this power, this heart chakra, because it's going to activate your being and you're going to remember who you are. Sorry about that. Um, so you won't get lost through the duality of things, because a lot of these realms, even not, there's realms beyond Earth and they have a duality as well. So that's why I want to be able to give this to y'all, because there's layers of the being, you know, there's the physical being, the astral being, and the ideal being. So in these realms, you deal with duality. And if you don't know the core or your being or your heart, you know, your unconditional love that you can always come back to, then you'll in a sense be lost or be looking for guidance. So this is something here to teach you to find the inner guidance and the inner peace. And you can only do that by really diving into your heart. And we'll, like I said, we'll do this together. So there's a powerful 3-foot electromagnetic field around you. Some people call this the aura, some people call this the torus. And this is why I got kind of this picture up on all slides. The next days we'll get into, you know, more artistic and beautiful and stuff like that. I try to do my best. But this is kind of like a field that's not only around you, but like it's pulsating from its seams around the heart, and it's radiating around the body. And it's an infinite field. And you, like I was saying with the water, like how you're programming with the thoughts, you are also programming this field. And other people that come around you, you know, are programming this field too. That's why, you know, it's when people talk about, you know, you need to cut off people that's messing with your energies. And I know how it is, because it's like, if you're a loving being, you don't want to do this. You love everybody, right? And you just want to show them, like, look, you know, kind of guide them a little bit about, you know, hey, your energies are messing with mine, or I feel like your energy, you know, it's out of balance. You would know the person, so you would know how to talk to them. You know, everybody has their love language, but the point here is that everybody that comes around each other needs to know about the electromagnetic field, and that it's being programmed, not only through us talking to each other, but through people's emotions, how they feeling, through the movies and TV that you're watching, through the feed of social media you scroll through everything, through the symbolism, through the words, you know, the sigils. We can go on and on. But once you realize that your electromagnetic field, or your torus field, is constantly being programmed, then you'll start to bring awareness to what to program it with, and what to put around you, what smells, what sights, what noises, what kind of music are you listening to. This all plays an effect on your frequency and your vibratory energies, which we will get into in, you know, later courses and things like this. But this is, like I said, this is the 7-day activation to the beginning of your awareness of emotional intelligence. If you didn't have it already, like I said, some do, and some just need reminders. So let this be a reminder if it needs to be reminded. So your heart provides you with emotional and intuitive guidance to help you direct your life. So this is like, I feel like one of the most important things, because if you don't follow the intuitive guidance, then you can almost instantly see what happens when you don't. It's happened to me many times, not too many, because after I learned, I was like, whoa, okay, I need to listen to that. So for example, and this is the most easiest example, and then I'll get a little bit more, you know, complex about it. But so imagine you're on your bike, right? You're riding your bicycle and you're looking down, and then you just look up real quick because you're about to run into something. That's intuitive guidance. It helps you direct your life, literally. Another example. This is where I didn't follow my intuitive guidance. So I'm giving you a little bit of both so you can kind of understand what happens when your inner voice is trying to talk to you. So when I was younger, me and a friend, we were just driving around, we had a little marijuana in the car. It was a little late at night, like 2 a.m. in the morning, something like that. And we went by this hotel or whatever. I think we were about to stay at this hotel. And mind you, we're in my town. I'm just with a friend and I'm just trying, he didn't have a place to stay at the moment. So we was trying to get a hotel. And when we was riding around, we stopped at this hotel, which was about 4 blocks, maybe 5 blocks at most from my house. And something told me to get out the car and just go home, right? So I heard it clear as day. And I didn't listen. So I get back in the car and we get pulled over. And then you can see where it goes from there. But this is just an example of like following and not following your intuitive guidance, because it's directing your life. It's helping you direct your life. So the more you can become awareness of this or bring awareness to this, the more guided you are in your life of this thing we call life, which I was talking about with the ocean, how like it goes in and then it gives it to you and then it takes it back. It's like the shore, like it's so beautiful, really, because once you can see in the center of that and understand that that's just the way life is, and you don't cling on to what's getting taken from you, then you realize that everything is moving and everything is constant here. Nothing is it's temporary, not that nothing's temporary, but stuff is temporary here. So you don't, the best advice is to not attach, because it gives and it takes, you see? So once you can get back to that awareness about this realm, then you won't be so upset with yourself and you won't battle yourself. You won't be in between one of these three. You'll be happy. You'll have your inner peace. It's not from the money. It's not from your loved one. It's from the loved. Well, it is from the loved one. Let me say that. Let me reword that. So, but the loved one, like I said, when we think they die and pass, it's all in the heart. We're all in the heart. When you can find us all here. Remember that. So the heart rhythms are mirrored in your emotional states. Negative emotions create dishonored, irregular heart rate. So that's when you get paranoid or, you start stressing. And this is how you can always make sure, like, oh, that's stress, or that's like, check your heart rate, like feel for your heart. Always remember your heart, your core. It's talking to you always, but you're only listening to your mind. So positive emotions create improved rhythms, order, and health. So the more positive emotions you can have towards anything or everything, the more rhythms of order and health you would bring to the being. This is real. I've witnessed and I'm witnessing now. And I also, I wasn't prepared to do this actually, but I'm gonna give y'all an affirmation that came to me a couple of days ago that's just so beautiful and helps me so much. And it's, the world around me conspires to do me good. All that happens will benefit me. So instead of thinking all these people are out to get you and, do you wrong, and you start judging them and all this, all that, the world around me conspires to do me good. Stay on that thought. Write that down. This is powerful. Because remember what I said, what you're thinking and putting out is controlling your lymphatic system, aka your waters, your tides and your body. And water holds what? Data. So this is the last slide. For this slide, I want us all to just close our eyes and kind of just hear this. This is something from I got from Living in the Heart book, and it was given to Druvio by Ron Laplace. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and close my eyes and take a breath, and then I'll read it. If someone says to you, in the fortified city of the imperishable, our body, there is a lotus, and in this lotus, a tiny space. What does it contain? That one should desire to know. You must reply, as vast as this space without is the tiny space within your heart. Heaven and earth are found in it, fire and air, sun and moon, lightning and the constellations, whatever belongs to you here below and all that doesn't. All that is gathered in that tiny space within your heart. Now breathe on that. And I'll go over it again. If someone says to you, in the fortified city of the imperishable, our body, there is a lotus, and in this lotus, a tiny space. What does it contain that one should desire to know? You must reply, as vast as this space without is the tiny space within, your heart. Heaven and earth are found in it, fire and air, sun and moon, lightning and the constellations, whatever belongs to you, here below and all that doesn't. All this is gathered in that tiny space within your heart. So that's what I have for day one. And I would like to open it up. I see y'all were chatting in the chat. If y'all have any questions, I would like to open it up for that. Let me get y'all unmuted. There we go.
That was beautiful.
Did y'all like it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I liked it.
Yeah, that affirmation is really, really powerful. It shifts, like for me at least, because I've went through years and years of affirmations, and this affirmation shifts my whole system somehow. Like I could feel my whole field like shifting when I say it. So I just wanted to be able to give that to y'all. Also, let me give y'all this mudra. Okay. So, and let me repeat the affirmation too. And you could, like, if you get real strong with it, like I was saying in the slides, like sending the thoughts to awareness to even activating your heart, and then using the mudra and then saying the affirmation, that's like boom, 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 like it's bringing more energy, more power, like more unconditional love towards your being. So the affirmation is, the world around me conspires to do me good. So this is basically telling yourself, everything around me, it wants me to do good instead of thinking the negative, and not that there's not going to be the negative. That's where we kind of mess up on, is that we think we can just eliminate the negative. That's why I was talking about the shore. It gives and it takes, it gives and it takes, right? So you got to find a balance within this. And this is how it starts. So the mudra, let me take off the background because I don't know if y'all be able to. Oh yeah, you'll be able to see. Let me let's see. Okay. Okay, so how I would start it, like, this is my intuitive way of starting it because it was shown to me. It was shown to me the mudra alone, but I bring so what I do is I put my hands together, as when we give gratitude or we pray or, anything that you do with these hands is gratefulness. It's just, or you could see it as bringing the left and right together, right? Or the good and the bad, like harmonized. So I bring it to my heart and then I bow to my inner heart. From the bow, I connect my middle fingers. Now they pay attention close. I connect my middle fingers. And that's why I said you could see it as the one from the two and going back to the one. This is why. And this will always bring you back to center. That's why I say if you're lost, because you'll realize that this is infinite and that you need to be in the core and the center in order to know, who you are and your purpose and your mission on all this. So connect the two middle fingers. You could separate all other fingers, but realize that the two middle fingers are the middle, like literally of the fingers, like the balance is still connected, but it's somehow separating, right? And then turn one hand that's facing up, one palm facing up, and one palm facing down. Okay? And from there, you're going to want to connect the pinky to the thumb on each side. The pinky to the thumb. It should look something like this, like almost like an infinite symbol or something. And you just breathe with this and you put this towards your heart, you bow to it, you do as ever your intuitive guidance guides you to do with it. But even like, so let's try it again, because I want us to even use it for right now to like take in everything that we just went through. So we'll bring our hands together. We'll bow to our innermost, our inner selves, our, our guidance, our heart, or however you would like to see it. And then make sure the middle fingers are connected. Switch it, one hand's up, one hand's down, but the middle fingers are still connected. And then pinky connects to thumb on each side. Now try not to strain your muscles with your hands. Try to be light as possible with it. And recognize that this is the infinite symbol and your two middle fingers is the center and you're right there between all of these layers. And now put that to your heart and just breathe into it. And that's how that's done. Take this with you, never forget it. Actually, I have one last thing. Because this is the importance of this all, is the action of actually doing it. You've heard the logic, you heard how to unlock the emotional intelligence and the importance of the heart briefly. I'm not saying I'm done or that was it, that was everything. But this is what's gonna get us on that journey back to self. And thank you for showing up for self. So the last thing I have for you is this. It's a little saying that I found from an app called Fabulous. All right. This day will come and go. That much is certain. Making it count, well, that's all up to you. Are you ready? Breathe in. So everything that you learn through this journey, it's all up to you whether you make it count or not. I can only give you so much. I can't, I'm not gonna even say I can't, because I don't like that word, but just know that you have your own inner guidance. And yes, we do look for always help from others, which is okay. That's why we have the community. But we just need to learn for the times that people aren't around us, or maybe we're searching for some help outside of ourselves and we can't find it, right? So that's where this comes in. So this is us bridging now our minds to the heart and the hearts to the minds, and being in coherence and just staying on that thought pattern and staying on that affirmation. The world around me conspires to do me good. Program your lymphatic system with those thoughts. You might need to do it for a year. You might need to do it for 2. You might need to do it for 3. Who knows? But I promise you what, your water is keeping all that data that you're thinking, doing, experiencing, So just remember that. And that's all I have today. Does anybody have any questions? Let me go through this chat. I didn't. Oh yeah, I'm glad you made it too, Eric. You missed just the very first part. So the very first part, and we'll do this on each day, is we'll do 2 to 3 minutes, more likely 3, of like just breathing, but on the exhale we'll sigh. So it'll be like because when you do this, it's lifting weight off the heart center, and as well as like breaking down walls, because a lot of us have the walls. Most all of us have the walls because of relationships. And that's in another slide where we'll talk about how we build all these walls. And as you could see, you could feel it. When you sigh, you feel it. It's like you always feel it because the breathing alone, but the sighing does something. It's like vibrating in a different frequency especially when you put the thought towards it, like, yes, I want to release, weight from my emotional intelligence, my love, my heart, my how I express myself. I don't want to be dense about it. I want to be as light as possible as I can be, and loving and happy as I can be. So, and being able to use that heart intelligence, that guidance between using that when that logic comes in, or the ego, or whatever you see it, and kind of starts battling, remember what I said, the intuitive guidance, try your best to listen to it. It's harder for others, but this is the start. This is how we get back to that, get back to self, get back to hearing our inner voice. And eventually it'll be so loud. You'll be like, oh, okay, I got it. And you can even do check-in lists, make sure, remember, like I said, you're not separate from your higher self. You and your higher self are one. So you say, hey, am I on the right? Check in with yourself. That's what meditation is. You go meditate, make sure you checking in with your vibratory, your Taurus field, make sure it ain't been programmed with some crazy stuff. Because it does. If you go out in the world, you getting affected. And if you don't know how to, work with that field through the emotional intelligence, which is what? The intuitive guidance, which a lot of us are calling psychic abilities. You see how I just braided it all down for you? That's what this is. We all have it. It's just we forgot. That's why I said, I'll remind you as best to my ability that I can. And even this, I don't know why I just did that, but I kind of do. And it's because this signal right here is something I learned from Seven Bomar, somebody that I've been listening to. And it's supposed to mean everlasting life. And it's saying that, hey, I see you, you see me, we're touching each other's hands, and we'll always be here, and we'll remember this space. We can always gather from this space, this wisdom, this abundance, this spring of infinite intelligence. You see? So that's it. Now that's it. Does anybody have any questions?
I love this, bro. To be honest, like I want to mention a couple things, but like maybe for another clip. But
I can't,
you,
Eric, I can't hear you. If that's you talking, hold
can you
on.
hear me now? Oh, am I too low?
Yeah, you sound really, like I hear you, but you're really, really low.
This always happens when I put the headphones. Hold on.
Or type it in the chat if you have to. I'll read it out.
Wait, can you hear me better?
Yeah, now I can hear you. I can hear you now.
Yeah, it was the headphones. It always happens.
All
All
right.
right. Yeah, just to make it quick. Sorry, I stalled a little bit. How to say? I love how you put it that way because to be honest, yeah, I can totally relate. Like how old are we? Well, by the way, today's my birthday though.
Yeah, happy birthday. I put up a
Yeah,
post for you in the
I like how
community.
the class started today, so it kind of means something. Okay, for me personally. Okay, so anyway, like you said, like throughout our whole life, right? Well, it depends on the person, but through our whole life, we've been indoctrinated into this type of culture or belief system, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the more conscious you are, the more you kind of know or know how to differentiate your logic with your intuition thinking, but you don't know
Yes.
how, like, you don't know how to react to it. Maybe you get a glimpse here or there throughout your life that that it has something to do with the heart. Me personally, I've heard in other cases like the heart is your second brain. I mean, not the way you would put it, but you would agree, right? In a
Well,
sense.
yeah, the thing about that, see, that's where I feel like a lot of us are a little bit confused because
Yeah, it's the wording.
something
Yeah.
that I used to explain to my mom. So every organ is a brain.
Oh, right.
When you
Yeah.
start thinking about it like that, it all has its purpose. It's all doing something within our system, right?
Right.
We
You could
just
play with it more.
like think about it.
Yeah.
The brain is the only organ that named itself. You
Right.
see?
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
it's just
And
that's the
just
logic.
reminder.
That's the ego.
Yeah. But that's the thing. Like, most people don't know where to look. So once they stumble here, like they're lucky. I mean, as long as they put
Yeah.
their all, right? They know they gotta they better some things in their lives. They gotta admit it. Um, well, that's where the process goes, and this is a
Mhm.
good step, bro. I'm proud of you, to be honest. And I like this class. Very good job, bro. Well
Thank
said.
you. Thank you.
Yeah. Just to quick, I wanted to add this later, but just one quick thing because it helps me a lot with my meditation is, well, I know some other people might relate, visualization, right? Not literal visualization like you see in a movie or whatever,
Mhm.
but one thing you said, I put in simple terms, like I like to think once I breathe in, I literally open a door, just to get in that mental state, like all the clutter, all the ranting ego, you just leave it a little bit behind. You go through the door in this new perspective. You got to listen. You got to be patient. You got to, nurture that knowledge, right? And I like to visualize that. One last thing is I like to visualize role playing. Okay, not only role playing as in a game, but I mean role playing as in if you're working with your ego. I mean, some people might end up fighting with their ego, but I've learned something that don't work. So what I do is visualize my real self as a mother figure, not as a female
Yes.
mother, but like a mother figure as in I look at my ego as in a ranting child or a child that always gets their way, right? So every
Yeah.
time I try and meditate, the motherfucker starts, oh, sorry,
No, you're good. You're good.
starts blabbing. So instead of fighting, like, dude, concentrate. No, I'd be like the mother figure, to myself. We owe it to ourselves also. So it'd be like, dude, slow down, take my hand. Okay, let's go.
Yeah,
Right?
that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Because that's what I was saying about like, as we could see each other, like we could see like as our children. So what is that? That's like a mother figure, right?
That's
So because we
actually
start
unconditional
judging, we
love,
start
bro.
judging each other and ourselves, and it's like, and then we start beating ourselves up. So it's really like We're
It's
our
how they
own,
taught us.
we're our own worst enemy, and we're our best friend.
Yeah, nobody taught us how to work with ourselves.
Yeah.
Nobody.
So the more we could start to just bring that awareness to like the intuitive side, you know, because we can use that towards like to communicate between the logic or the ego and the emotional intelligence, because
bridge.
we can ask ourselves, now that we know the two, we can ask ourselves, hey, like just literally question yourself. You're always talking to yourself anyway. As soon as you wake up, the thoughts come in, you know?
Yeah,
So you
even if
ask
you don't
yourself,
realize. Yeah.
you say, is that emotional intelligence or is that logic? And then if you can't figure it out, you start writing stuff down, because that's getting it out your head. Because if it's in your head, it'll just start. It's like you're in space with the knowledge at this point. If you don't write it down,
You're
it's
not
always
grounded.
going to be in space. It's never going to be grounded. So therefore, your emotional intelligence and your logical intelligence is like,
Yeah, you literally end up battling. Yeah. Yeah, you end up
you
battling.
start
Yeah.
battling. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Yeah. And this is the
Yeah.
battle within. This is the real war
Yeah.
that, you know, and it's
Yeah.
just everything we know now that, you know, if you don't, you should know that everything outside of us is a representation of within. So the
Right.
more we can
I
get
tend to
ourselves together,
empathize like that. Yeah. Like,
yeah,
especially with politics nowadays, they're so passionate. What you really see is them expressing their own imbalance. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. And
Like,
it's crazy because they're both talking about the same thing in different
yeah,
terms.
yeah,
And
exactly.
this is what you got to see. Like, that's why I was explaining to one of the members is like, I explained it to y'all too, but let me get this on recording, I guess. So the chess game, you know, you got the 64 pieces or however many pieces, and you got the left, you got the left and the right, or the good and the bad, or the light and the dark, which is the white and black squares. And then you got the characters, which is like you're saying, the role playing. We all do it. We're role playing, especially those who work and put on that mask to give off a certain, you know, energy to the customer. This is the best example for that in video games and stuff like that. But so you got the board game, you got the pieces, the 64 pieces, and then you got the white and black squares, which we could see as duality. That's why everything else I was saying is coming from within. All these games, all these movies, these computers, like the mechanics of a car engine. Like if you start to pay attention to it, it's how our internal system works,
Right.
which is trippy. So the board game, the piece, the squares, the white and black, which is the duality. Then you got the characters, right? Like the pawn, the horse, the king and the queen, right? Like how we always talk about the father, the mother, the king, the queen, like all these characters, right? And then we got the player moving the characters. So that's like, all right, now I'm in the wheel type of energy. Now I'm taking control of how I think and how I feel. I'm not letting other energies affect me, right? But then you got the observer, the one that's watching the whole thing.
I am.
Yeah, that's the balance right there. That's like, you're not getting stuck in the battle between good and bad, or good and evil, or whatever you want to call it. And, you know, you see
Respect them.
everything as one and as a part of the cosmic drama.